Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, is a very common disorder among children, teens, and adults. Students with ADHD can have problems in school and at home regarding behavior and their ability to focus. There are many intervention strategies created for students with ADHD, as well as prescribed medications that help with attention span levels and behavior issues. ADHD is Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. An IEP is an individualized education program. This gives students with disabilities accommodations and learning goals that the school and teacher must follow. A 504 plan ensures a child with a disability receives accommodations in the classroom. Self-regulation intervention. This is where students monitor their own behavior in the classroom as a way of helping them feel in charge of their behavior. LRE is the least restrictive environment. There is a vast amount of research for educators who have students with ADHD. According to the CDC, 9.4% of children ages 2 to 17 have been diagnosed with ADHD in the U.S. Most teachers will come across at least one student who has ADHD, which is why it is so important to talk about and understand. Typically, students with ADHD are able to be in a general education classroom. This would be their least restrictive environment. There are some cases where the child must be pulled out of class for testing. This is because they will often need to be given extra time so that they can make sure they are focused and understanding the assignment. Some students will have an IEP or a 504 plan, but some may be undiagnosed or not need as much intervention as others. Self-regulation intervention is one strategy used by many teachers. In this strategy, both the student and the teacher continually monitor the child's behavior in the classroom. The child is given a behavior form where they can fill out when they are on task with the class, when they become distracted, or if they have any outbursts of bad behavior. Since the child monitors their own behavior, it is more likely that they will try to improve so that they don't have to write down any bad behaviors. It is stated in an academic journal that, as in the case for behavioral interventions, self-regulation strategies directly address the impaired delayed responding that theory has posited to be the core deficit underlying the disorder. As an example of self-regulation, students with ADHD may be taught to evaluate their classroom behaviors and work performance at regular intervals using a Likert scale, ranging from poor to excellent. It is important to note that it is impossible to list all students with ADHD into one category. All will be different from one another in the type of interventions needed. In a study done on 42 educators who directly work with students with ADHD, it was noted that practitioners report using many different strategies that do not exclusively target the core symptoms of ADHD. This means that many of the interventions used for the students with ADHD were also beneficial to those without it. Physical education is a great way to help all hyperactive students, not just students with ADHD. One article writes that a number of studies, reviews, and meta-analyses have already documented some benefits of physical education for ADHD-diagnosed children, including reductions in ADHD symptoms, improved academic achievement, as well as socio-emotional and cognitive performance. Physical education is a great way to help students with ADHD have a greater attention span. Students who fidget in the classroom need that movement to be able to focus, so having breaks throughout the day for movement is very beneficial. In summary, there are tons of research and interventions for students with ADHD. Some of these interventions can be used for all students, which is why many students with ADHD can succeed in a general education classroom. Self-regulation interventions, physical education, and many other interventions are great for those with ADHD. I hope that in the future, I will be prepared for any students I may have in my classroom. I hope that I will be able to use this information I have learned to improve my teaching and have overall student success. I hope that if I have a student with ADHD, I can remember these interventions and help that student be able to learn to the best of their ability. I also hope that other teachers can use this information to better their classroom as well.